Hi, anyone and everyone. My name is Kim. I own and run the Humble Hermit LLC. Come as you are, Oracle. Music Mama 80. I have 2 YouTube channels. I have a thriving TikTok that went semi viral. I have an Instagram account, a Facebook account, and a business Facebook. And I am just on here telling my story of all the crazy shit that has happened to me in my life, which I was called to do last year, and I put it off, but I'm finally getting to it. This is a continuation of part 7. Um, so in 2022, I was just a little recap. In 2022, I was going through my separation and divorce with my husband, now my ex-husband, and I was sexually assaulted twice by my best friend of 30 plus years. So I left her that night on September 16th, 2022. I got in my car and I drove away. And I knew after I left her place, I was going to go to my parents. I had to pick up 2 packages that I didn't want sent to the house because at the time, sorry, I have eye gook in my eye. At the time, the now ex husband and I were still living in the house. We were waiting to sell our home. And so I drove to my parents to pick up these 2 packages, and the whole way there I cried. Because I knew that was the last time I was ever going to see her, my best friend of 30 years, who sexually assaulted me twice and who apparently felt the need to become emotionally, mentally, and verbally abusive to their best friend. And yeah, I cried all the way to my parents' house. I had to park on the street. My parents have like this ridiculously long driveway that can fit like 6 or 8 cars. Um, but I think they were having their roof worked on at the time, or maybe it was the bathroom. I don't remember. But they had like a big, garbage thing there, and they had stuff in the driveway. And I think my dad's car was in the driveway. So I parked on the street. There wasn't room for me there. And I texted the man to tell him I didn't think I was coming. And I kind of told him a little bit about what happened. And he's like, oh, he's like, well, if you don't want to come, that's fine. He's like, or you can come and we can talk. So I went inside, I got my 2 packages, and I was I was like on an adrenaline rush because I was so upset and I didn't know what the hell to do. And honestly, I was scared just because I had left her there that way. And I felt horrible about doing that. But at the same time, I had to save myself and get the fuck out of there. And I was just a mess. I was just a jumbled mess. So I picked up the packages. I talked to my mom for a few minutes. I think I talked to my brother for a little bit. And then I left. And I got in the car and I texted the man and I said, okay, what's your address? So I drove to his place in Kenosha, Wisconsin, and I got there and we talked for a little bit. The funny thing is I knew he was lying to me because I brought up the whole thing about, she had said in the past that they had had a sexual relationship. And he said, oh no, he's like, that never happened. He was lying to me. I could tell he was lying to me. It was coming off of him in waves, the lie. Like, it was crazy. And it's funny because in that moment, I knew I was going to sleep with him. And I ended up sleeping with him on and off for about 2 months after that, just to try and get information. Not because I felt any connection, not necessarily because I even wanted to be there. Don't get me wrong, he was nice enough of a man, even though he was absolutely fucking lying to my face. Yeah, I used him to try and get information. And I did sleep with him that night, not gonna lie. And again, I slept with him on and off for about 2 months, from the middle of September till the week of Thanksgiving. And every time I went over there, well, not every time, but a few times when I went over to his place, he would bring her up. Oh, we texted each other. Oh, yeah, I heard from her. Or, yeah, some. Okay. There, I think twice I asked him, like, I made a comment about her, the ex best friend, because now she's the ex best friend. And he would make comments about how he was in contact with her. I knew he was in contact with her. Before I get into what happened the day after, I'm just going to state this. Not only do I think that they had had sex before and he lied about it, I think that they have been fuck buddies on and off for years. And I'm not going to lie, because of Labor Day and what I witnessed at my ex best friend's sister's party, I'm pretty sure he was involved with the sister as well. To what, how long, how much, to what end, I don't know, but I'm pretty sure he was both of them. Yeah. That's just a guess on my part, but it if it walks like a duck and it talks like a duck, that's all I'm going to say. So I was with him that night. I left. I went home. The next day, I texted her because I didn't hear from her. I should say this. When I drove to my parents and was crying, she was texting me, and it was a whole rant of like, I don't understand why you left. I love you. Please don't leave me. Like, I need you. Da 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 da. She texted me that as I was driving to my parents' house. A very codependent type message. Like, when I read that message, I didn't get the ooey gooeys, like, oh, my best friend loves me, I should go back. No, I got the hair standing on the back of my neck. My spine went up like a cat. And I was like, oh, fuck no. No, no. Because I literally could picture her in my mind, fake tear cry. And when it doesn't work, dried up, stone face, ready to fuck over the world. Like, that is what I pictured in my mind. And people can call me crazy all they want, but narcissist. Total fucking narcissist. And you know how you know when someone's a narcissist? Because they denounce all narcissists. And they say, oh, I'm not narcissist. I'm not narcissistic. And then they behave like a narcissist. That's narcissist. Someone that questions whether they're a narcissist, someone that acknowledges that almost every person on this planet has narcissistic traits, which we do, by the way, that is someone that is not a narcissist. Now, again, like, we all have those type of traits. We all exhibit a little bit of that. But a full-blown narcissist, totally delusional. And that's how I look at her. An absolutely mentally ill, delusional narcissist. And highly manipulative and abusive. Highly. Because when I look back on past things and I think about her and think about things that she said and think about things that she's done, seriously, like how did the veil not fall for me sooner? How did I not see who and what she was sooner? Other than the fact that I loved her like family. So the next day, I text her and I say, listen, I said, what happened last night? I said, you don't get to talk to me like that. I said, I don't know who you think you are. I said, but you are my best friend of 30 years. I love you like a sister. You do not talk to me like that. You should not be talking to anybody like that. And I said, I said, I don't know. Are you in love with me? Because originally, when all of this started happening, when our first sexual encounter happened at my birthday, when that encounter happened on Labor Day, I was like, she's got to be in love with me. Like, why is she doing this? Like, it doesn't make any sense to me. So I asked her for a third time, third time. I said, are you in love with me? I said, because I don't think of you like that. Again, like, we're friends. We've been friends for a very long time. I love you like family, like a sister, you know? I said, you're my best friend of 30 years. So she texts me back an apology. I call it the apology because it was not an apology. Basically, she said to me, if you feel like you need an apology, here it is. Folks, that is not an apology. Again, that is a narcissist trying their damnedest not to own up to what they did, because they will never do that. And they're not going to apologize either. So that was her way of getting around a real fucking apology. Well, if you feel like you need an apology, I apologize. That's not an apology. Admit what you did and apologize sincerely to your best friend of 30 years who loved you and wiped your ass for 30 years. Let that sink in. Let that absolutely fucking sink in. She texts me back. She goes, because I said, are you in love with me? And she goes, and I think about what she said to me. In the text, I think about what she said to me every day. Like, if not every day, at least once a week. I'm not even kidding. Because I said, are you in love with me? And she goes, I love you like you're my family. The first thought that ran through my mind when I read that was, you want to fuck your family? And I still hold by that statement. I'm just going to say this because, again, I can only guess. I know her sister was abused as a kid by, I think, like a neighbor or a family friend. It is highly, highly likely that whoever that same friend was, or neighbor or whatever, also abused my ex-best friend. I mean, let's just be honest. If they can abuse the sister, they can absolutely abuse the sister that is wheelchair bound. She would have no way to defend herself for the most part, especially as a kid. I love you like your family. I've never once have I ever wanted to fuck a family member. Never once have I ever had a crush on, like, my brother or my dad or my cousin, or, no. And again, I told her before, like, you're my best friend of 30 years. I love you, but I'm not in love with you. I have no desire for you. I'm not attracted to you. You're like my sister. Who wants to fuck their sister? And quite honestly, I don't remember what I said after that, and I did erase all of our texts. I'm not gonna lie, I did. Um, I do have some texts that were saved on my actual computer, my laptop, because that one never updates and syncs correctly. But it's old conversation from before, which I still have. I hung on to that, but I deleted all those texts because I deleted everything off my phone. And at the time, I deleted her phone number. I unfriended her on Facebook. I stopped following her. Nope. And I blocked her at some point. I didn't block her right away, but I did block her. Um, because you're not going to tell me that you love me like family when you did what you did to me. You sexually assaulted me twice. That night, I'm not even going to lie. That night when I left on September 16th, 2022, she would have tried a third time. She would have tried a third time. I had to get out there, get out of there. I had to save myself because the emotional and mental and verbal abuse, honestly, that gets me more than the sexual abuse because I've dealt with that my whole life from family. And that triggered me. And honestly, thank God it triggered me because it got me the fuck out of there. Like, I woke up, it got me the fuck out of there. Yeah. I talked to her that next day. I sent her like a meme or something a few weeks later, which she sent a laugh out loud. And then like I think it was the end of October. I could be wrong. It could have been the beginning of November. Again, I got rid of all the text, so I don't know exactly for sure. But I contacted her a third time asking if she knew of a family attorney because at the time, the ex-husband and I, when we were selling our house, we were being jerked around by our real estate attorney, and we thought we were going to have to hire a family attorney to combat the real estate attorney. It was a whole thing. It like 2022 was it was the worst year of my life. I'm not gonna lie. It literally was the worst year of my life. So I contacted her about an attorney, and I asked her about a specific person in her life that had been in her life for I think a few years. A male, an attorney, like our age. You know, I was like 42 at the time, so I think he was like our age, maybe a little bit older, maybe a little bit younger. I'm not too sure. Um, Again, not going to say names. I asked her, does he know a family attorney? She didn't even respond to that question. She sent me the name and the phone number of someone else who she said had helped their family in the past. My first thought when she did this was, you just don't want to give me the name of your friend. Like, you don't want to give me the number of your friend because she didn't want me to have anything to do with her male friend who is an attorney. Okay, fine. Like literally, this is the moment where you could redeem yourself just a little bit in the eyes of the best friend that you sexually assaulted twice and treated like shit, emotionally, mentally, and verbally abused. You can redeem yourself like a little bit, and instead you don't. You feel the need to hide this man, this attorney from me. I had his first name. Probably could have, and I didn't like remember his last name, but I guaranteed if I looked him up somewhere online and saw his name, I would have remembered. I would have gotten it. and I would have called. But here's the thing, I'm not a petty ass bitch, so I let it go. And the ex-husband and I ended up not needing the attorney, so I didn't even call the other attorney that she gave me the name and the phone number of. I didn't even call. But I laughed at that because I'm going to end it here with this one thing. We're going to continue into a part 9 later on today. I'm going to do a part 9 and talk about what happened with the man after this. But I'm just going to leave you with one thing. I can tell you right now, I full and wholeheartedly believe for probably like the last 10 to 15 years, my ex-best friend has been in some type of silent competition with me where she thinks that she needs to compete with me for everything, anything and everything. And it took for all of this to happen for me to realize what a small, tiny, abusive, mentally ill, narcissistic troll she is. Because, honey, I do not compete with people ever. Like, I am who I am, and that is it. If you like it, love it. If you don't, fuck off. Like, I don't care. I don't compete with anybody. And I sure as fuck do not deliberately compete with someone that I consider to be my best friend. Someone that has been my best friend of 30 years. My sister. But I full and wholeheartedly believe that she felt like she was in competition with me for at least the last 10 to 15 years. And yeah, absolutely fucking devastating and just sad. Just sad that a tiny little human being like that feels like they need to compete. And that is exactly what makes her a tiny little human being. I'm going to leave it there. This was part 8. Stay tuned for part 9.